The Women Enterprise Alliance is hosting its third annual conference on how small to mid-level businesses, SMEs, can thrive in intra-regional trade. Helping Nigerian women to use their resources and thrive is at the heart of this year's convention. Arise correspondent Itoro Udofia has more.
Run 50% of the small to mid-level businesses we see in Nigeria. And many believe the strong entrepreneurial spirit of Nigerian women will eradicate poverty. Women are looking to their own backyards to develop businesses that can compete on a global scale. Take this entrepreneur who found 18 different ways to use ginger and corner a market.
So now we use zero waste on ginger. If you give me ginger, I'm going to break it to like 12, 13, up to 18 different things. I can give you the chutney, the ginger chips, the ginger oil, the oleoraisin, the balm, the powder.
But there are problems in the way of helping women reach the big leagues of business. It's one of the single stories we must rewrite in Africa. The dangerous idea that a product is only good if it comes from abroad. At the conference, participants are trying to change this narrative.
Don't need to be in the European country. Stay within Africa, enjoy Africa, because there's a lot you need to harness in the African market that we have not.
We need to create the space for people to be able to position themselves. What's the government policy on even the snacks that are provided at meetings? Can we have a policy that says only made in Nigeria products?
My first knowledge of an SME, which was also my first experience of a power a woman holds and plays in business and life, was as a child when my mother started her first business venture in poultry. I was fascinated with the moving parts of entrepreneurship, but my mother was always composed and had everything under control and still had time and extra, it seemed, for the family. But as I grew older, I began to understand how much work she had to put in to play all these different roles, and all the hurdles she had to face as a woman doing business in Nigeria.
If more women continue to make use of what they already have and have support from the public and private sector to reach their full potential, while using technology to reach as many people as they can, then sky's the limit. Itoro Udofia, Arise News.
Joining us now for a greater perspective on this all-important development is Thelma Ekiyor, Managing Partner, SME NG. Good to have you on the program, Thelma.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, just looking at your mission statement, it says your mission is to produce world-class and diverse entrepreneurs that meet the needs of an ever-changing market in Nigeria and across Africa. I want to start by asking, what specific or unique challenges do you feel from your experience women face in Nigeria today and in Africa as well?
Okay, so Nigeria has a unique story of having more women entrepreneurs than men, and more than any other country in the world. However, most of these entrepreneurs operate in the bottom of the pyramid. They operate either as micro businesses or quasi micro businesses, and they mostly operate in the informal sector, which means that they will not be able to access credit. They will not be able to operate and in the financial sector, that is take advantage of financial services. Most of them never break out of the poverty cycle of operating in the micro sector. When we started our work as SMENG, we carried out a survey and we couldn't find more than 5 Nigerian businesses, women-led businesses that had been passed from one generation to the next that were large businesses. So this just shows you that women face a myriad of problems as they try to establish businesses, even though they establish more businesses than men.
Well, I mean, it's basic maths. If you have more women in business, it only makes sense that you support them with finance. But not to start a gender war here. Men are not necessarily bad leaders and women are not better leaders. But when you look at the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic in general, more countries, more places led by women have had to handle the pandemic better. So let's bring that to business, especially in Nigeria. What has it been like for women entrepreneurs in this COVID-19 era?
So that's an excellent question. At the outbreak of the pandemic, we realized that we couldn't continue with business as usual. We are a gender lens impact investor, which means we invest in women-owned businesses. And rather than just continue looking at on the investment side, we asked ourselves the question, how can we support women entrepreneurs to survive the pandemic? So what we did was we carried out a national survey in partnership with the Federal Ministry for Women's Affairs and NACIMA. And the survey revealed that not only were women worse hit by the pandemic, the sectors that women operate in, hospitality, for example, catering, those sectors where they suffered the longest lockdowns. Not only that, McKinsey released a report that said survival of the pandemic is digital, and most women in Nigeria were not able to migrate their businesses from being physical to digital platforms. Many could not even understand the whole concept of operating on an e-commerce platform, so the thought wasn't in their heads. So this just shows you that it will take women a lot longer to recover from the pandemic. Normally, it takes women 5 to 7 times longer than men to set up and establish businesses. Now, if you add in the variable of the pandemic, it means that it could take women 5 to 7 times longer to recover from the pandemic.
Okay, that's interesting. Being able to keep up with digital technology can be seen as a handicap at this time, specific to women. But how do you specifically support women, and how have you seen that bear fruit? And then, with regards to the up-and-coming women sector, what support have you been able to give to that sector of young entrepreneurs coming into the market?
So for us, like I said earlier on, we are a gender lens impact investor. We invest in women. We invest in women at the bottom of the pyramid, but we also invest in large-scale women's businesses that are looking to expand. And we do that through 2 funds. One is the AB Fund, which is for the bottom of the pyramid, and then we have a larger fund called Women's Investment Fund. However, one of the main challenges, the earlier question about the challenges women face, one of the challenges women face to excelling is technical skills on how to run their business properly. It's not that women don't want to be successful, but many times managing both their domestic responsibilities and business responsibilities are a challenge. And so we set up an all-women's accelerator called She Works Here that helps women with their technical skills and helps them with becoming investment ready before we put them in front of ourselves as investors and our other investor partners. As a result of the pandemic, we have set up an all-women's e-commerce platform called the AB Marketplace, where women can post their businesses for as little as 1,000 naira, and they will be able to access finance. It's primarily an access to finance platform, but they will also be able to access markets beyond Nigeria. It's one of the first of its kind, and I'm sure that there will be others, as I said, because digitizing businesses is now the way forward as a result of COVID for resiliency. So these are some of the ways that we support women.
And very quickly, Thelma, for those who may not be familiar with this concept, you say intra-regional trade for SMEs and how they can thrive in that. What exactly is that? And tell us about the 3rd annual conference.
So I think maybe you mean the 5th annual conference, but I'll just talk about interregional trade. Right now, we're talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement and how it's supposed to increase intracontinental trade and also remove barriers to cross-border trade. One of the ways to do this is on digitized platforms, such as the platform that we are proposing. If you're a woman in Nigeria, if you're on our platform, you can easily sell to, most times we look at America or the UK or Europe, but have we looked at the potential that exists in selling to almost 1 billion people across the African continent? That is the excitement of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. And we know that I mean, COVID obviously delayed a lot of the rollout with that, but one of the key areas that the free trade agreement will help bolster is intra-Africa trade and using technology to facilitate that trade.
Well, thank you, Thelma Ekiyor, for sparing the time to give us more insight into what you're doing. And we wish you all the best with your third regional conference.